So it's
This
up to you guys.
conference will now be recorded.
Oh, sorry. I hit the record button. All right.
Okay, can I call the meeting to order?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to call the City Council March 16th, 2020 regular council meeting to order at 7:10 p.m. I'd like everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty for all. Okay. Are there any additions to the amended agenda tonight?
I have none.
Okay. No presentations. Oh, is there a motion to accept tonight's agenda?
I'll make that motion.
To accept the agenda.
Okay. Seconded.
And there's been a second made. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Can I please make a suggestion?
Yes.
Yes.
Because of how difficult it is to hear on the phone call, that when we make a motion or we respond, because all of your voices are fairly similar, could you please say, this is, Counselor McNair,
Yeah.
You can use your first name for expediency and say, this is Bruce. I move. Okay.
Mayor Hobart said yay.
Counselor McNair says aye.
Counselor Webb,
Allen said aye.
Can I also ask that maybe the mayor just do a roll call for each one so that it's clear who's talking? Thank you.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay, moving on to, there's no presentations tonight. So we're going to move on to the mayor's report, and Councilor Allen is designated for the month of March to pick the citizen of the month of March. So I'll let him disclose his pick for the month of March. Councilor Allen?
I'm really having a hard time hearing you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
There, I can hear you.
We're postponing the citizen of the month till you guys are all present.
Yes,
right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Did you want to disclose to the council who you picked?
Well, I think most people know
okay.
I picked Mike Peel.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Joe. Moving on, council committee meeting reports. Mayor Hobart has none.
Mayor Hobart?
Yes.
I have a committee meeting report, but I'm going to forego it until the next meeting. It's
okay.
Better opportunity to do it. It's rather lengthy, and I think this is probably not the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. So moving on to number 6, topics from the floor. Audience participation, that's been suspended. Consent agenda for acceptance, number 7, none. Consent agenda for approval, none. Is there any unfinished business?
No.
Okay. Moving on to number 10, new business. Staff report, SEI filing.
So I'm going to, real quick, This is
Go ahead,
Stephanie
Joseph.
Boris.
Oh, Stephanie.
This is, yeah, sorry. This is Stephanie Boris. Real quick, I'm going to jump on. The SDI filing staff report is just for your guys' knowledge. No action or discussion is really needed. I am available to help you if you need. Please just send me an email to schedule a time.
Okay. And I received that email yesterday, so I imagine the other counselors have too. So thank you, Stephanie. Staff report B, skate park funding.
All right, do you guys want me to read the staff report, or have you all read it?
I don't have a page. I do not have a page 16. This is Counselor Allen.
It's
Page 2.
it's actually page 2.
All right, I'll just read it.
Okay.
Okay, so at this time, it's not possible for me to accurately determine whether the city will be able to commit the amount of funds to the skate park project that was suggested, since I've just started working on the budget. I will say that if the city were to commit the funds, they would be coming from the general fund. Keep in mind that there are many other maintenance issues within our many parks that need attention currently, especially the play shed. And it has been mentioned that the seniors may not be requesting the donation of the $10,000 next year for their meals program. So that would obviously free up that money if we wanted to earmark the $10,000 there to the skate park. I don't see where that would be an issue. But aside from that, I'm not real comfortable just, saying, yeah, we for sure aren't going to have any issues donating or, earmarking that much money towards the project. And if we were, it would have to just come out of the contingency, most likely.
Okay. Thank you, Angie.
Mm-hmm.
Any discussion on that at this time?
Could you go down the counselors, please?
Try that again, Counselor McNair.
All right, I guess I'll start. That's acceptable.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for the finance director and the city administrator.
Okay.
Would the grant funding, does that, not having a number to put forth on that before budget, is this going to go through before budget or after budget?
Yes, so the grant application is due April 1st. So if the city was going to put cash into the finance page of that, we would be putting that in before April 1st, before budget even starts.
So it does have a sense of immediacy for that, from that point of view.
Yeah. Because we have to fill it out and turn it in before your next council meeting. So if the intent of council is to earmark 10, 20, 25, just know that during budget, what Andrew's saying is it's going to potentially, the only spot to pull it is general fund contingency. And if you guys direct us to do that, we can do that. It will need to be really clear that some other things, depending on how much the forecast is and comes forward and at the end of the year, it may be a problem, or it may make us make some other choices because we've earmarked that money.
Mayor, this is Councilman
Yes.
McNair again.
Yes, go ahead, Counselor.
This is a follow-up to that. Can the city administrator give us a timeline when, a drop-dead time when you need a final number on that?
March 31st.
Okay, so we have no further scheduled council meetings between now and then?
Yes, you don't have any others until into April. April, I forget, I think it's the 6th. I'll have to look. If you guys want that money, you know, if you want to promise that, then that's fine. You just need to tell me that, and then we'll work around it. This is just I'm just giving you guys the facts here. I'm not trying to sway you either way.
Right, I understand, Stephanie, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing that. So, Mayor, if anybody else wants to speak to this, I still have something I would like to say in the end.
Okay, does any other counselor want to talk about this topic?
I'd like to chime in a little bit there.
Yeah. Counselor Allen, would you like to say something?
I would. I thought we had discussed this and agreed that if all possible, we were going to go forward with this. I'm still under the mindset that we should, and I want to personally. I think investing in our own town is a good thing, and some of those extra funds that have come in, I think now would be a good time to earmark some of that. It's not spent if the project doesn't go forward, but I think it's time for the city to put some their own skin into the game, and I'm all for the $20,000 earmark.
Okay, thank you for your input on that. Counselor Wagner?
Hi.
Hi.
So, I'm a little concerned about the fact that some people were under the impression that we had committed to 25,000. I'm not comfortable with that because that's a very large chunk of change, and then some. I do agree that the city should support it in some manner fiscally as well as with our match. I believe we're contributing some type of work to it at all. Do you know what that number is, Josette?
What our current match is?
Yeah.
So we have it estimated for materials and labor, I believe around 11,000 for the stormwater drainage out of the skate park bowl. That's really one of the things that only Public Works could do. So the groundwork's by a community member, but the stormwater drainage is Public Works for about 11, I think, in our last bid, our last application.
Because I'd like to have us consider that as part of our contribution, not just a cash contribution plus that. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree with the amount I'd like. That was part of what our discussion was supposed to be tonight. Was my recollection was what that number was going to be.
Okay. Thank you for your input, Counselor Wagner. Counselor Webb, do you have anything to say on this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So we just went through the supplemental budget there, I think, just a meeting or so ago. Originally, we showed about $100,000 increase. Some of that's going to be net because of increases in line items that our finance officer had to make some moves. But we did put $68,000 additional dollars into contingency. And our adopted budget was for $63,000. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that there's about $68,000 that we do know is extra. It'll be cash carry over into the next year. So we do have some money. I guess my only caution would be, and ask the city administrator, With the current event that's going on, do we have any inkling of extra expenses that we may be having till the end of the fiscal year that would be coming out of contingency?
No, because really, all the salaries are budgeted, so no one's going to end up working overtime because of it. And then there's also, at the end of this part of the meeting, there's the emergency declaration, so it would allow us to potentially recoup anything that we lose as a municipality. So without a crystal ball, the money that we're going to for sure lose in the next 4 months.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councilor Webb, for that information. I personally am in favor of helping out with this group, and I understand the urgency for the timeline for April 1st, and I believe we're going to talk about that in a resolution later on tonight for that application. So I'm in favor of, I guess, I mean, what were we going to match? What did we talked about gifting Josette? Was it 25 or 20?
Well, so at one point, Wendy Sears, who's the Vernonia Skate representative, had asked us, talked about matching the Tony Hawk grant, which is $25,000. Then at the last, she mentioned $20,000. When I first talked to her, I said potentially 10,000 would be. So it's been all of those three numbers, and it's really, we know that 10,000 potentially isn't going to be requested from the seniors because they'll have their own meals program by then. And not be that we help them out with that. So it's really up to council.
Before I give my last little thing, I'd like to hear again your closing statement, Councilor McNair.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Time there. I originally proposed 20,000 some time ago. I think Councilor Allen has asked for 25. Basically, we're looking for at 20. We're looking for 10 because of the $10,000 that we possibly would have budgeted towards the seniors meal program. Yes. I think we spent somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 on that program over the last 5 years, which I championed originally. So
sure,
we try to help where we can in terms of people in need, the folks in need, and I think we've gone a long ways with the seniors. I think it's time for the young folks in town. They have made several attempts to do this over the last 20-some years, probably 25, and they've been unsuccessful doing it. It's the presentation that we've had in the past from different entities is that it actually is a true asset to the community. I know that's not what we're discussing here, but I think it's worth the effort of, even if in the budget process we have to go in the coming year and see if we can't find that 10,000 somewhere. And I hate to use the word waste because I don't believe that exists in our budget. Our finance officer and our city administrator and the folks down there. They work really hard not to waste our money. But there's always places where you can find a little bit, and it's a one-time deal for this in this instance, and so I would recommend 20,000, and I would ask
20
support from my fellow counselors in that.
Thank you for that analysis, Counselor, and the added information about over the last 5 years and the amount we've already helped with that cause. Let me ask Josette if would the amount included gifted in the grant application look more favorable the more we gifted?
Well, currently, Mayor, we don't have any cash skin in the game as the owner of the property. And so I don't know if you pick 20 or 25, what the difference in between 20 and 25 really does is it changes the percentage of project cost versus what we're actually asking the Oregon Parks and Recreation District for. So it changes that percentage a little bit. We're already currently in a good percentage. I think we're at, let me look here, at the bottom, we are at, we're at 74%, 25% match, when the minimum you could have in match is 20%. So our goal was to get away from that and not be asking for everything we could, and we got there last year. We didn't get funded, but we got away from that 80-20 to 75-25.
Sure.
So any cash is going to lessen that 75% ask. We could get it to, I'd have to do the math, and you probably all don't want to wait for that. So it'll change it, it'll bring it, so we'll be asking for over the total project.
Sure. Okay.
Mayor, could I ask
yes, go ahead.
the city administrator a follow-up question?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, go ahead.
Josette, it seemed like we were talking and looked at some spreadsheets, and I can't quite remember each one of them. Maybe you can, on the successful ones and how much the cities had cash in the game and how that went down on the last 2 or 3 successful ones.
Yeah, so the sweet spot in last year's was a 70% ask, a 30% match, which I'd have to, let me do the math really quick and see what, if we added that. The total project cost.
That'd be about 50 grand.
So we'd get close to it. We'd get to 32% match, 68% ask if you gave the 20.
Okay. Thank you.
Because we do have and all the cash donations also going into that hard money number that acts as acts as match from the community, along with
right.
the
But wasn't there a section for cash from the city on that application?
No, there's a section for what the owner is doing, and currently ours only says the piping, materials, and the labor. It does not have cash included in it. It's not separate. Yeah, it's just kind of what are you doing as the owner. It's not separate as did the owner give cash, but it looks good if you can put you gave cash.
Okay.
I have a question.
Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So what happens if we propose a cash donation from the city or a cash contribution from the city. And then when we end up going through the budget process, we end up identifying that that is too much. Josette, from your experience writing grants and from my perspective, how does that sit with you?
Well, we really couldn't do that. We're going to have to find it somewhere. Whatever you guys earmark, staff and finance are going to have to find it in the budget.
Yeah, that would just go, I would budget for that first. That would be one of my big numbers that gets plugged in before we do the rest of it.
And if that meant we had to, be more cautious on office supplies or something else in order to make that mark, then we just work towards doing that.
Does that answer your question, Councilor Wagner?
Yeah, I'm still struggling with the dollar figure that I think we should be proposing.
If you want my honest opinion, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem to do this. It's just, we just need to know going in so that we don't have to take it away from something else down the road.
Go ahead, Councilor McNair.
Mayor, thank you. This is doable. The community has come forth and put a lot of effort into this. In the time that I've spent involved in city issues here, I can't remember an issue that garnered this kind of support. And I think that, again, I think this is doable. I think if we prioritize it as Mrs. Handegard has said, I think it's there.
Okay. So does the council want to move ahead and entertain a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Who would like to make a motion to gift the skate park fund a certain amount of money so that it could be added to the grant application?
I would be willing to do that, Mayor. I would make a motion that we move forward and propose that the city administrator seek out the money to put towards this through the budget process towards this worthy goal.
In the amount of?
20,000, ma'am. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So that figure again, I believe I heard was 20,000.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, it sounded like Councilor Allen seconded that motion. Councilor McNair made the motion. I'm going to go by roll call. I'm going to start with the council president and state your name and your vote.
Councilman McNair, aye. I vote aye.
Councilor Webb, go ahead.
Councilor Webb says aye.
Councilor Allen, go ahead.
Councilor Allen, aye.
Councilor Wagner.
Aye.
Mayor Hobart votes aye. Motion carried.
Okay.
Okay. Staff report, support of proposed Eagle Scout projects at the cemetery. Can be found on page 3 and 5.
Okay, so attached to your amended packet, you have 2 recommendation letters from the cemetery committee. And I'm just going to read the staff report really quickly, and then on the line with us, we should have Jared and Seth Sherman, who are the young men who want to do the Eagle Scout project, so they can answer questions. But I'm going to read the staff report first. So following the presentation of Eagle Scout candidates Jared and Seth Sherman at last night's cemetery committee meeting, staff asked that you and the rest of council approve supporting these young men with their projects to improve the Vernonia Memorial Cemetery and other Vernonia cemeteries. Jared Sherman has proposed restoring and moving the flagpole from its current location to a more central location in the cemetery, as well as incorporating the Vernonia Mothers War Memorial plaque into the new flagpole base. Staff and the cemetery committee have been discussing this project for some time and planned on completing this project regardless of this volunteer opportunity. The city's cost is relatively small, with staff time to lower and raise the flagpole and materials, concrete, and etc. required for this project. S. Sherman has proposed cleaning headstones and working on a genealogy project, which would improve our burial database and burial entries on the Find a Grave website. Both projects will require some amount of planning assistance and supervision by staff, along with some training and technical assistance for Seth's project, because we'll be uploading it to a website that is not ours, and they have specific codes that go along with each upload. And this is from Ben. He's long desired to see both projects completed and willing to volunteer his time in assisting Jared and Seth as needed. So, Jared and Seth, are you still on the line?
We are.
Okay, Mayor Hobart, if anyone has questions, you could talk to the gentleman.
Okay, I'd like to, first of all, congratulate you and Jared and Seth, and I think it's a wonderful project, and thank you so much for taking an interest in the city cemetery up there, and I think it's a wonderful project, and I'd like to now at this time open up the council if they have any questions or comments they'd like to direct to you, Jared and Seth. Or...
We will welcome any questions or comments.
I have a comment, Mayor Hobart.
Okay, Councilor Allen.
I just want to reiterate what the mayor said, and thank you for volunteering. And if you need any help with the finishing of the concrete, I have all the tools and willing to help you also.
Thank you very much.
I've got a question for Jared and Seth. How far along are you in the process? Are you getting to the final stage of becoming Eagle Scouts, or are you just beginning, or how long have you been working on your promotions?
Oh, our Eagle Scout rank, we have been working on different times. Me personally, Jared, I have been working on mine for about the last 2 years. Seth has been working on his for about a year or so.
Yeah, but we haven't actually started really working on the projects besides bringing our projects to our committee a couple nights ago.
We have been working on other portions of the requirements.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's, go ahead.
So, Mayor, can I just kind of inform council a little bit? So, Jared and Seth need to get the approval of the owners of the property or the beneficiaries of the improvement, and then they'll take this plan to their personal scout leader, and then if that person deems it acceptable, they'll take it to the Eagle board that would review it and kind of bless it to be their Eagle Scout project. So this is kind of the first step in the order of how they have to do it.
Oh, okay. So we're just looking for a general consensus from the council tonight for recommendation to approve the proposed Eagle Scout project.
Well, so it would be safer as a motion because there will be some city funds and concrete and staff time that could be incurred.
Okay, I understand. Any other discussion or questions for the Shermans?
I have
Mayor?
one more question.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Councilor Webb,
Which one?
do you have a question?
Who did you call?
Go ahead, Councilor.
All right, this counselor, I couldn't tell who you were calling on.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor.
Question for staff. There at the bottom paragraph, Ben was talking about volunteering this time, but don't we have a staff prohibition on volunteering in the same department you work in?
We do. So when it comes to like the uploading and the digitizing and his office stuff, that would be a city expense. I think he's just thinking more like generally and brainstorming the ideas and stuff, because he did talk about it being when we go to upload the genealogy, and then as they get ready to put the flagpole up, he would be staffed there with Public Works to help with that and paid.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for clarifying that, because I think we need to be clear about that so we don't have any issues. And I have no problems with him dealing with these things on staff time. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Webb. Any other discussion on this? Before we someone would like to make a motion?
I had one question, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilor Allen.
But Josette, I think, mostly answered that. My question was going to be, how are they going to lower it and raise it, and what equipment, and safely do it? And she mentioned something about Public Works, and I don't know if we had a crane or what we're going to do.
Well, no, so we've done stuff with long poles, with the removal of the log at the swimming hole. And so Jeff's plan is to anchor it off with the backhoe and then the big tractor and just lower it. It's just bolted, so it'll just be making sure everyone's out of the way, and then kind of securing, lowering it. Mm-hmm.
It's got a swivel hinge then. It's not a pull out of the ground.
No, it's above ground. Just mounted on a base.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Councilor Wagner, do you have it?
No, I'm fine. I think it's a wonderful project, and I appreciate the fact that they are taking this on. And it's quite an admirable and a truly appreciated contribution.
Mayor Hobart, Councilman McNair.
Go ahead, Councilor McNair.
I would have to echo my fellow councilman and my friend, Councilman Wagner, that I've had the pleasure and opportunity to work with both these young men over the years, raising and lower the flags up there every Memorial Day. And they have truly taken an interest in in the cemetery up there, and I'm proud to know those young men, and I think this is a worthy cause. So I'm fully behind it.
Okay, thank you, Councilor McNair. With that being said, would you like to make a motion?
I would, Mayor Webb, if that's okay with the rest of the council. I would make a recommendation that staff work with these two young men to move forward on this project, and I guess that's it. And the necessary.
We make a motion to approve the Eagle Scout projects as presented by Seth and Jared Sherman.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the Eagle Scout project by Seth and Jared Sherman.
Okay, thank you, Councilor. Is there a second?
I'll second, Councilor Webb.
Councilor Webb seconded the motion. We'll start with Councilor McNair. All those, give your vote.
Yes. Councilman McNair, yes.
Councilor Webb?
Councilor Webb, yes.
Councilor Allen?
Councilor Allen, yes.
Councilor Wagner?
Aye.
Councilor Wagner votes aye, yes. Mayor Hobart votes yes. Thank you. Okay, the next item. Is there any business from the departments tonight?
There is not.
Okay. Ordinances and resolutions.
Mayor, can I just say thank you? If you want to hang up, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make sure they.
Okay. To the Sherman's brothers, thank you for participating in our meeting tonight, and thank you for your willingness to help out our city via the Boy Scouts of America. Good job.
It is our pleasure. Thank you for giving us your time.
Okay. We'll see you soon. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much.
Night.
Night.
All right.
Thank you, Josette, for that.
Sure.
I want to apologize too because I'm not on speaker. I'm holding it to my ear. I can't figure out how to get my phone on speaker. I did the first time I dialed, but then the second time I dialed, I wasn't able to put it on speaker. So my ear is getting a little sore right now. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Can everybody hear me okay, first of all?
I can now, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Resolution 2020-02, a resolution authorizing the City of Vernonia to apply for a local government grant form from the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department for development at Spencer Park and delegating authority to the city administrator to sign the application. Can you find page 6?
So, Mayor, this is very similar, if not almost exact, of the resolution we submitted to you guys and got approved by you for our application. It has to be uploaded, that the council is in agreement with what staff is applying for, and this just kind of sets it in stone.
Okay. Any questions or discussions from the council?
I got one question.
Go ahead, Counselor Allen.
This one would be for Josette. What's the estimated cost to go through this process with this same grant year after year?
You mean the only cost really to us is staff time? Is that what you mean?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there was a fee, application fee, and how much I know there's staff time involved, but
And it gets simpler as you keep getting turned down because you're submitting the same information, just tweaking it a little bit, and then there is one day where we go down to Salem and present.
right. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other discussion from any other council members?
I'm not sure I understood that statement.
My statement?
No, whoever just spoke after you.
I asked, is there any other discussion or questions about this resolution?
Thank you. That I heard none of that. It was very garbled. So I have none.
Okay. Would anyone like to make okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to adopt this resolution 2020-02?
Councilor Webb does.
Okay, a motion's been made to adopt resolution 2020-02, authorizing the city of Vernonia to apply for a local government grant through the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, and designating the city administrator to sign the application. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in here. We actually have to hear Councilor Webb make that motion.
Okay.
So this is Councilor Webb. I'll move to approve, or move to adopt resolution number 2020-02, a resolution authorizing the city of Vernonia to apply for a local government grant from the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department for development at Spencer Park and delegating authority to the city administrator to sign the application.
Thank you.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Second's been made by Councilor Allen. All those in favor signify by saying aye. In a roll call, beginning with Councilor McNair.
I'll defer to my fellow counselor, Councilor Wagner. Let her be first this time, if you don't mind, sir.
Okay, Councilor Wagner.
We're just doing roll call. It goes in order, but I'm fine. Susan Wagner, aye.
Councilor Allen. Yep.
Councilor Allen, aye.
Okay. Councilor Webb.
Councilor Webb, aye.
Councilor McNair.
Councilor McNair votes aye.
Mayor Hobart votes aye. Resolution carried. Motion carried. Okay, resolution 2020-03. A resolution of the city of Vernonia declaring the city of Vernonia, Oregon, to be in a state of emergency. Josette, do you want, we talked about it earlier on the phone today. Do you want to give a little insight of what the state of what we shared today?
Sure. So
with the council.
typically, you guys have heard of declarations of emergency in relation to floods or events where our resources as the city are exhausted. This is a little bit different because our resources are still functioning. And so you'll see that we reference a different ORS, which is ORS 401 0.032. And that one is to reduce the vulnerability of the state, and then basically they put the requirements to us to do stuff, and when we run out, then they're going to ask the feds for money, basically. So if you look up 401.032, it says responding to an emergency where the appropriate response is beyond the capability of the city and the county in which the emergency occurs, and if the city and county fails to act, or the emergency involves 2 or more counties. So this is where emergency management is saying there's multiple counties in the state that are having this issue, and so we should declare an emergency under this heading. So when and if there's federal funding allocated to it, specifically to Oregon, then we are in line to recoup legitimate costs that we keep track of. So specifically to employees, if an employee, we're waiting to kind of adopt a staff policy that if employees do come down with COVID-19, the state is saying that they're changing a few of the rules for the OFLA and FEMLA, which is the Family Medical Leave Act or the Oregon Medical Leave Act. They're changing the amount of hours that someone can claim under that. So this would help us if somebody does unfortunately get the virus and lose time and does not have sick time, they can have a bigger gap than they normally would under those 2 legislative opportunities for them to keep their job. So at the request of emergency management, a number of the other cities and the counties did this Friday, like in a special meeting. We did the closure because the city keeps its own right to close the city hall at any time. Some of the cities needed a declaration like this to be able to close their cities. So that's why they did it Friday.
Okay. Thank you,
I know it's kind
Josette.
of a short amount of time, but are there any questions?
This is Councilor Wagner. Just to confirm that by including the 401.032 et sequitur, it incorporates all the other ones that are referred to in the state's ORS, because I'm looking it up right now. I just want to make sure we're going to be covered completely by instituting this one, that incorporates all of the emergency opportunities we have to take advantage of should we need them.
Yeah, we're specifically identifying 032, but it's the whole chapter of 401, which is the responsibility of emergency services and all of that.
Okay,
Under
thank you for the clarification.
401 is the emergency management services chapter.
Well,
yes.
Could you give me those numbers again, Josette? 401?
0.032, but the overarching chapter of the ORSs is chapter 401, which is emergency management and services.
Can I ask a clarifying question? I'm not sure I caught that all. The declaration is set to expire on the 10th of April. And is it difficult to extend this should we need to, or do we have to go through the process again?
No, so that date aligns with Columbia County Emergency Management's date for the first period of this event. They would do extensions by then, which we would extend based on their extension.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's matching their date.
Okay. Well, it just kind of gives us a little bit more insurance policy. It's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it?
Well, it also helps us because the policy kind of framework that's coming down helps us to track anything specifically related to this. So if a staff member is out of work, or if the governor by executive order says we can't even come into the office or something, we would start tracking that as an effect to the city of this event. And then that all legitimately be turned over. So it's just kind of a safeguard to say we're recognizing what's happening. We're still trying to do the best for the citizens and still be here. But if something changes and we can't be, it's a kind of a safety measure to recoup funds, and then kind of to protect the employees that they're not out of luck if they unfortunately catch this.
Understand. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you for all the insights on that, Josette.
Sure. Just one more thing. This was reviewed by legal, just if any of you had that question. Ruben reviewed it and made a few small changes to it before we presented it to you.
Okay. If we vote on it tonight to declare emergency, will you need a signature before it becomes effective, or will our vote enact the resolution?
That's a Stephanie question.
Did you hear the question, Stephanie?
Yes, I did. So my understanding is that the resolutions become effective as soon as you guys vote to adopt it. I can amend the signature line for when you're available to sign it. I would prefer it not be 8 weeks away, obviously. But we can make an arrangement so that you're not in any sort of danger just to sign it.
Okay.
So
that
Mayor,
answered my question.
Just to add on to that, one option we would bring this and other documents that need your signature along with the checks in an envelope. And then when you were done, you could put it back on your doorstep and we could pick it up so that we're not risking you in any way.
That's fine. That would be fine.
So are you?
I'm pretty much. I'm
that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. I could do all that tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So, are there any other discussions on this resolution 2020-03?
I have one question for the city administrator, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilor Allen.
Joe said, is there anything in that chapter, I haven't read it, that helps our businesses if they incur big losses?
So there's a document, it's not in this specific declaration, but there's a document we're going to be putting on the website tomorrow that is a, let me double check what it's called. Hold on one second. It's from the Small Business Administration, and it's going to be an estimated disaster economic injury worksheet for businesses. They would fill that out if they're have impending effect from this event, or they have current effect from this event. They would send it back. This will all be on the website. They will send it back to us, and we will forward it to emergency management. who then works with the SBA to address all of the worksheets that come in from our county.
Okay, great. You said you're going to put that on the city website?
Yeah, on the city website, and then potentially, depending on if there is an executive order that closes restaurants, potentially the police would get in contact with each of them to let them know that that's available.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor
That was
Hobart,
a good question. Yes, go ahead.
this is Councilor McNair. I have a question
Go
for
ahead.
the city administrator.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Josette?
Yes.
So you've spoken to legal. I suppose Stephanie, maybe, does she have to be in on this?
Yeah.
Is this confined strictly to the virus itself?
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, under this declaration, does whatever injury, whatever consequence suffered by an employee, is it confined to the virus itself, or is it just within the period time frame of from the date we adopt it to the 10th of April and whatever happens within that time frame?
So is your question, does the employee actually need to get the virus to not suffer harm from the ramifications of the virus?
That I would include in it too, yeah, the ramifications of the virus.
So
what I meant was, what I'm saying is there's a direct linkage.
In some way, yes, because OFLA and FMLA allow for it to be your child that you're caring for that causes the upset, a parent, a stepchild. There's all these caveats to who could be affected that you could also have detriment because of. And those are covered under either the Oregon Family Medical Leave Act or the federal one.
Right.
So it's not like the person that it could be from other events caused by this event, loss of work, loss of daycare, other things as well.
Yeah, or something that's just really not related to the virus itself in the sense that duties prescribed or so the legal has confirmed to you that that's basically we're protected from that.
Well, more so than legal, CIS has sent us, our insurance company has sent us wording and verbiage and documentation about how we are supposed to be addressing all this issue with our employees.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Would anyone like to make a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make a motion, Mayor. This Councilman
Go ahead,
McNair.
Councilman McNair. Yep.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2020-03, a resolution of the City of Vernonia declaring the City of Vernonia, Oregon, to be in a state of emergency. Can you hear that?
Yes. Is there a second?
I'll second. Councilor Webb.
Okay. Councilor Webb, do you want to start the vote?
Councilor Webb says aye.
Councilor McNair.
Aye, Councilor McNair.
Councilor Wagner.
Aye.
And Councilor Allen.
Councilor Allen says aye.
Mayor Hobart says aye. Motion carried. Is there any correspondence?
No.
Okay. Items from the mayor, councilors, and city administrator.
I got one question.
Go ahead, Councilor Allen.
This is before Josette. Would Parks Committee meetings and all the other committees be canceled also?
They are.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, they are. And
Councilor Webb has a comment.
okay, Councilor Webb.
Talked to the public works foreman today. We're moving ahead with putting getting the lake pump going this week. So we'll have water and we'll have fish, so some people can go have recreation, keeping their distance at that time.
You're here.
Thank you, Councilor Webb, for helping out with that. I don't have any other comments or statements other than check your emails and I have a question for Councilor Allen. Do you need help getting your email set up?
Yeah, I'll bring my
get
computer
them?
by.
Okay.
I'll bring my computer home from work. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't have any other comments at this time. So, action item summary.
Okay, so staff's going to communicate with the mayor to get the documents and the checks for this week's payroll to his residents for signatures.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you everyone for participating tonight in this avenue and I think in light of what's happening, I know you don't want to talk about the coronavirus, but in light of what's happening and everything's changing from hour to hour, I think the social distancing is really good. And I plan to spend a lot of my time in the house and not go to many other places. So if there's no other comments or anything, I'll adjourn this council meeting at 8:18 p.m.
Mayor Hobart.
Yeah. Yes.
Hold on a second. Not so fast. Two things. I'd like Councilor Allen, if you could please forward his new phone number to me. And I would like to ask that the council itself work with staff under these trying times and not be afraid to bring concerns that citizens of the community might have. They reach out to you. And don't be fearful. Be safe. And bless all of you.
Thank you, Councilor McNair.
This is Councilor Webb.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Webb.
Just was curious if staff has any idea if 911 is still working on our phones?
I do not know what the hiccup is with phones. I'd have to text Chief and see if CCOM is getting any landline calls or if it's all cell phone.
So real quick,
Okay.
actually during this meeting, the phones here at City Hall started working.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. So there's 911's probably working.
Can we expect
Go ahead.
more updates from the city on the city webpage then on kind of what's going on? Because I found out about some of this stuff by just people saying, hey, City Hall's closed, and I didn't even know. So
Well, I don't have your phone number, sir.
I sent
well,
the
that's
email
not true. I
ahead.
gave it to Stephanie about a week ago.
I don't know who just
That's
said
it.
that.
That was me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I sent the email
I'll
out
tell you what.
ahead of. Oh, okay.
Just one person speak at a time, please.
Here's my phone number: 503-758-5954.
Just call me, JR. I hope you still have mine.
Maybe on my other phone. I'll have to look for it.
Okay, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want you giving your number out over it.
I don't care.
Because of public meetings law, most of my communication to all of you goes at one time via email. And I did that ahead of posting anything on the web page. So if you're not getting email, I can remind to text you about different things. Counselor
No,
Allen.
I understand that. That email thing's my issue, and that's my fault, and I'm going to get it fixed. But my issue is I want to know for the citizens if there's going to be more information through the city website.
There is. So we're waiting for an actual executive order to document what Governor Brown said today is supposed to happen in restaurants tomorrow. I've had multiple communications with restaurant owners that feel like it's not in writing and it was just said in a press conference, and does it really affect me? So we're waiting for that executive order to come hard copy so I can notify all of them, and that's when potentially the police would do kind of a visit and give them the worksheet for injury effect to their business, and then the executive order that outlines what they're allowed and not allowed to do. Hopefully that's tomorrow morning.
Okay.
But it would
Thank
also
you.
go to the website.
Okay. Counselor Wagner, do you have any more to add tonight?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. Thank you once again, everyone, for participating and your patience. And so I will adjourn this meeting officially at 8:22 p.m. Meeting adjourned.